How to heal endometriosis with medical medium information. Welcome, my name is Rachel Pellison. I'm a registered dietitian, nutritionist, an herbalist, and an intuitive. And today I want to talk about endometriosis and how you can start to heal this condition to have lighter, healthier periods and also to improve your fertility. So first of all, what is endometriosis? It's a condition in which the endometrial cells, those cells that usually are found inside lining the uterus, are now growing outside of the uterus. And this endometrial tissue still responds to the hormones of the female cycle. So it grows, it swells, and it can even bleed like it would normally in the uterus. But when this tissue is found in places that it doesn't belong, like next to the colon or the bladder or anywhere else in the pelvic bowl, it can form adhesions, it can put pressures on the nerves, causing all kinds of different pain and infertility. So if you're struggling with this condition, please know I have complete and total empathy for you because I have seen too many women and clients struggling with this condition. And I can remember I had a coworker at one point who would have to leave work, go take pain medication, lay down for 2 or 3 hours until it kicked in, and then come back to work. So it was incredibly disruptive to her life, to her work, and also she was completely dependent on this pain medication. She couldn't function without it. I've also had a very close person in my life who was driving one day. She got her period, and the pain was so bad she had to pull over and lay down on the side of the road and call someone to pick her up. She couldn't even drive her car home. So endometriosis can be extremely painful. It can be extremely disruptive of your life. And if you are trying to get pregnant or hoping for a pregnancy in the future, it can create a lot of fears and issues around fertility. So let's continue on to get more specific about the signs and symptoms of endometriosis, maybe if you haven't been diagnosed yet, but you're wondering if maybe you do have this, and then we will walk through steps for healing. So endometriosis can lead to heavy bleeding, painful periods, pain during sex, while having a bowel movement, or pain when you're peeing. Again, because those tissues are creating inflammation, swelling, pressure on the nerves, anywhere in the pelvic cavity. So you could experience pain in the lower back, the abdomen, the pelvis. You can experience GI disturbances like diarrhea, constipation, or even nausea during your periods. Many women will experience significant fatigue or low energy. A little decline in your energy while you have your period is normal. It's a time for women to slow down a little bit, but it shouldn't be significant, like knock you out fatigue. A lot of women are also experiencing very heavy or irregular periods, spotting or bleeding between periods, lots of cramping or like abdominal fullness feelings, and it can even cause painful sex, which is very disruptive. So what is causing all of these symptoms? We know it's the tissues have moved outside of the uterus, but why did the tissues move outside? Well, traditional Western medicine really has no idea why this happens, and this is what led me to the medical medium information, because it's the only information that gave me any reasonable answers and, more importantly, solutions that I have seen to be highly effective. So according to medical medium, endometriosis is caused by a high toxic burden in the uterus. These toxins can be coming from pesticides, heavy metals, chemicals from body care products. I remember in my 20s, I used to slather my whole body in baby oil, which is a petroleum-based product. Now I think like that's crazy. Why would I ever do that? A lot of body care products like that. Perfumes, artificial hormones that have come from things like birth control pills or animal products that we've eaten. So we end up with this high toxic burden in the uterus. And the endometrial cells want to kick these toxins out because they want to keep the uterus clean and a safe place to grow a baby. Every month your body tries to make a human. It's pretty crazy when you think about it that way. So these toxic cells are trying to kind of kick themselves out to get out of the way. But once they're in the pelvic cavity, if there are other pathogens around, like viruses or bacteria, they start feeding on those toxins, creating even more inflammation and more issues. And this causes these cells to become mutated, malfunctioning. You can see cysts, adhesions, and even tumors showing up in the pelvis from this. So these endometrial cells have this life force to them like no other. They are the tissues that make up the uterus. They're the place where all life begins. So these cells in particular have a tremendous will for survival. So when a pathogen feeds off of these toxic endometrial cells, it's like a field day for them because they're feeding off this life force from the endometrial cells plus the toxins. So it can create really significant issues pretty quickly in the pelvis. So then Western medicine, they're like, okay, there's these tissues outside there, there's all this pain, well, we don't know what to do about it. So the traditional treatments are usually pain medication, like I mentioned, hormone therapy to try and mitigate the hormone levels so that there's not as much swelling, or surgery to remove that endometrial tissue that has wound up outside the uterus. So unfortunately, all of these treatments may not be effective, and especially surgery can pose significant risks of side effects. And what all of these treatments are doing are just downplaying the symptoms. They're never getting to the root cause and actually healing or curing the condition. So in my experience, when you treat the root cause, endometriosis absolutely can be healed. And at the very minimum, the pain and the period symptoms can be made dramatically better. This takes time, but it is absolutely possible. And I have seen women completely reverse their endometriosis, having very light, pain-free periods, and go on to have healthy pregnancies. So what we're doing with medical medium information is helping to lower those pathogen loads. We're helping to detoxify the uterus and those surrounding tissues, and then you no longer have the root cause that is going to create all those symptoms. So we're primarily using a low-fat, whole food, plant-based diet to do this. And whole foods is important because we want to focus on fruits, vegetables, herbs, and wild foods, the holy four that are going to help heal and regenerate the body to do this. And so this style of eating, this low-fat, whole food, plant-based diet, it's not about restriction. My goal whenever I coach a client is never to make anyone feel restricted. It's really about returning to the natural diet that our bodies are designed to eat. This is the food our body is designed for. If you think about any other species out there that's living in the wild, they have a very specific diet, right? Giraffes eat from trees. They're very tall. Monkeys eat fruit from trees. Fish eat algae or whatever is in the ocean, right? Everyone has a very species-specific diet, and this is the species-specific diet for us. So it really is about returning to our natural diet and nourishing the body with those whole, high-vibration plant foods that are going to help bring the life force back to the body, back to the immune system, and ultimately back to the reproductive system. So before I go into how we're going to do this, a lot of women ask or are concerned, can you have a healthy pregnancy if you've been diagnosed with endometriosis? My answer is yes. For most women, you can have successful and very healthy pregnancies after endometriosis. You don't have to 100% reverse all of the symptoms. I have seen women do that, but you can dramatically reduce your symptoms and improve your fertility by shifting to this style of eating. And any healing or detoxification that you do before you get pregnant are only going to increase your fertility, increase the odds of a healthy pregnancy, and improve the health of a future child. So how exactly do you do this? It's important that everyone creates a unique and customized protocol for healing, because while we do have a species human-specific diet, we live very different lifestyles, we live in different regions, and we have different preferences and different ways that we've been raised, different cultures and habits around food. But overall, the first thing to do is start to limit or omit animal products. That's meat, eggs, and dairy. And it's especially important to avoid pork and eggs and dairy. You don't have to cut out all animal proteins immediately, but if that feels like a natural step for you, then by all means, go for it. The second thing you want to do is bring in the heavy metal detox smoothie from Medical Medium. This is a combination of wild blueberries, spirulina, barley grass juice powder, dulse, and cilantro. These are foods that are particularly beneficial for detoxifying heavy metals. I'll put a link for the heavy metal detox smoothie. Sweet potatoes are an exceptional healing food for endometriosis. So a great thing to do would be eat sweet potatoes daily, either at lunch or dinner or as a bedtime snack. Other healing foods would be celery juice, cucumber juice, or green juices. We need to hydrate and flush out the reproductive system, and those juices are particularly hydrating and beneficial. It's also important, as I mentioned, to reduce your intake of fats. Fat is going to make it more difficult for the body to detox. It makes your blood thicker. You can literally see the viscosity of the blood change when you eat more fat. So reducing your fat is going to make it much easier for your body to detox and to clear that stuff out through the lymphatic system and the bloodstream. Of additional importance, you really want to support the adrenals with regular meals and snacks. So eating every 90 minutes to 2 hours, especially if you have any symptoms of adrenal fatigue. I have a whole video and article on that, which I will also link here. But supporting those adrenals is key because the adrenals are so closely connected to the reproductive system. They actually produce most of the sex hormones. So we really want to be supporting the adrenals as we're going through this process of detoxification. It's going to help balance all the hormones in the body. And then bring in a big volume of healing foods. So I'm going to go through those healing foods here. So for fruit, wild blueberries are one of the best adaptogens and super high mineral foods on the planet. They are phenomenal for the reproductive system and for the brain. That's a food I recommend everyone eats 2 cups of daily. Avocados are wonderful and nourishing for the reproductive system. My pregnant mamas, my breastfeeding mamas, you don't want to go really, really low in fat or fat-free, and avocados are one of the most digestible and nourishing fats for the body. Other berries are also really important, especially raspberries are very nourishing to the reproductive system. Also, in terms of fruit, you want to think about bringing in more grapes, kiwis, cherries, limes, oranges, tangerines, bananas, mangoes, and melons. When I was pregnant, all I wanted was melons. In both of my pregnancies, I wanted tons of melon. And in my first pregnancy, I didn't know any of this information. That was just a natural craving of mine. And then in terms of vegetables, bring in sweet potatoes, especially. Any kind of potatoes are good, but sweet potatoes are especially nourishing for the reproductive system. Sea vegetables like dulse I mentioned, or any kind of seaweeds are fantastic. They're very nutrient dense and they are great heavy metal detoxifiers. You also want to think about bringing in cucumbers, sprouts, asparagus, leafy greens, especially butter lettuce, because it's very rich in omega-3 fats, which are very nourishing to the reproductive system. Onions, artichokes, and your cruciferous veggies like kale, broccoli, cauliflower, bok choy, collard greens, Brussels sprouts, and the like. So start to think about how you can incorporate those foods on a daily basis. Some of the ways that I do that is a big smoothie in the morning, gets a bunch of those foods in, a big salad with cucumbers, lettuce, maybe some roasted Brussels sprouts or broccoli on it, and a big sweet potato, and you've got a lot of those foods in already. So food is the most important part of detoxing, nourishing, and healing the body, but there are also some really important supplements and herbs that can be really, really helpful. So I always recommend that all of my clients start with B12, zinc, and vitamin C. These are 3 supplements that most people are deficient in them, and they are highly supportive of the immune system. They're highly supportive of the detoxification process. So these are 3 that are very safe and almost everyone should be taking. Of course, always check with a qualified healthcare provider before you start taking any supplements. a knowledgeable healthcare provider, right? Not all healthcare providers are knowledgeable about this kind of thing. Okay, and then other supplements to consider would be amla berry powder. This is a great adaptogen for the adrenals, and it's very rich in vitamin C. Ashwagandha is a huge favorite for me for anyone who's experiencing stress. This is another adaptogen that helps the body to manage stress. That's a personal favorite that I'm taking right now as I am nursing my almost 8-month-old and navigating life now with 2 little ones. It really helps me to stay calm in moments in time where in the past I would have had like a stress reaction. Other supplements to think about would be cat's claw. This is a great antiviral and antibacterial. Chaga mushroom powder is very detoxifying and very nourishing to the body. Curcumin is a great anti-inflammatory and also supports the detoxification process. D-mannose can be really helpful, especially if you've got any bladder or urination related pain going on. Lemon balm is a phenomenal herb that can be taken as a tea or as a tincture. It's a nervine, so it helps to just calm and soothe those nerves, and it also helps to calm down the whole nervous system. It's also adaptogenic as well. Things like L-lysine are important because this is going to be an antiviral, so it's going to knock down any EBV, any HSV, any of the pathogens that are hanging out in the pelvic nerves. Iodine is really important for supporting the hormonal system and the immune system. Nettle leaf and raspberry leaf are great. Those nettle can be done as tincture or tea. Raspberry leaf is traditionally done as a tea. Those are really supportive of the uterus. Raspberry leaf is known as a uterine tonic. It helps to nourish that uterine tissue and help it to be healthy and strong. The uterus is actually a big muscle, if you didn't know. Schisandra berry is another great one you can do as a tea or a tincture, and that is a great adaptogen and very nourishing to the reproductive system. So I wouldn't recommend that anyone takes all of these supplements all at once. You kind of prioritize what's most important for you, what's accessible for you, and you really trust your body wisdom and your intuition in terms of which of those supplements are really resonating for you. So read about them, look them up. I will link below my Amazon store where I have links to all the clean brands that I personally use and that I recommend for all my clients. And, start one at a time, start slowly, start with 1 dropper full, work your way up. A lot of these are very powerful antivirals and antibacterials that can create a lot of detox and die-off. So you want to go slow and gradual as you bring them in. And then, of course, with endometriosis, we're thinking about the physical body and that healing. But whenever we're healing anything or trying to make improvements in our life experience, we have to address the whole self. We need to focus on holistic strategies that not just address the body and the physical health, but also the mental, the emotional, and our spiritual wellness. So, there's sometimes questions you can ask yourself, like, well, why would one person develop endometriosis, but another person would develop PCOS? Or one person develops digestive issues versus reproductive issues, right? Why do we get one and not the other? Traditional thinking would say it's genetic. I don't really believe that. I think that we inherit pathogens, we inherit toxins, and we also inherit energy patterns. So, according to Medical Medium, we all have these unique blends of toxins and pathogens that tend to favor different areas of the body and then create different symptoms. But for 2, we can also have these energetic weaknesses in certain areas of the body that correlate to the energy meridians. That's what people are working with in acupuncture. It can coordinate with imbalances in chakras in different areas that are connected to different planes of the body or different organs. And these energetic weaknesses can come from unresolved traumas, from any unsupportive thought patterns that we may have that are conscious or subconscious, and also from trapped emotions. So bringing those subconscious energetic patterns into the conscious mind can be a very powerful healing step. And it's interesting, sometimes we think of the subconscious as like this deep, recessed, hidden, secret thing, but the subconscious actually lives in the body. And the body is always trying to communicate with us. So when we can slow down and connect our conscious mind to our subconscious body, a lot of wisdom and information can come through to help us heal. And in my 17 plus years as a nutritionist and 5 plus years of working with medical medium information and living on these protocols myself, doing this work myself, I can absolutely tell you that my clients who bring in this layer of emotional and spiritual healing to their plans, they experience much quicker results with a lot less effort and less dietary restriction. So working with your thoughts, working with the emotions is extremely powerful because it changes the whole hormonal profile in the body, right? If you're experiencing more joy throughout the day, more time in nature, your immune system is way more effective than if you're frustrated, stressed out, angry, people pleasing, whatever's going on in your life. And no judgment if you're dealing with any of that. I've been through all of it. I work with clients every day who are going through it, and we're all doing the best we can with the tools and the awareness that we have. But part of the work I do is help to bring more awareness to this aspect of the work, and it makes the healing process easier and more effective. So one resource I like to use that can bring some things up to the conscious mind to contemplate is this book from Louise Hay called You Can Heal Your Life. And Louise did a absolutely amazing lifetime worth of work bringing what she calls the mental patterns that create disease in the body, bringing that information about the mental patterns that cause disease, and helping people to understand that there are certain energetic beliefs or energetic patterns that are associated with certain ailments. So when I looked up endometriosis, what I found for possible energetic causes were insecurity, disappointment, and frustration, replacing self-love with sugar, and quote-unquote blamers. So if any of that information resonates with you, one of the tools that Louise recommends, and she had tremendous success in her practice doing this work, and she was the founder of Hay House Publishing, who publishes all of Anthony's books, so there's absolutely a soul connection there for them. The affirmations or new thought patterns that she recommends are, I am both powerful and desirable. It's wonderful to be a woman. I love myself and I am fulfilled. So if those possible energetic causes resonate for you, you don't have to use that exact affirmation, but create one for yourself that feels really powerful for you and creates a new way of like, ooh, it's wonderful to be a woman. I've been hating my uterus for so long because it's been so uncomfortable and so painful, but it's actually wonderful to be a woman for so many reasons. So choose something that can really shift your thoughts and beliefs. I'll share one other spiritual healing tool, and that is that prayer is an incredible asset to healing. There was a study done many years ago, and they looked at some of the top predictors of cancer survivorship. And the number one predictor of cancer survivorship was prayer. So the people who had a strong faith and who prayed daily were the people who are most likely to survive cancer. So use this to your advantage. It's a form of energy healing. On a daily basis, ask for healing, ask for guidance, what supplements to take, what foods to incorporate, and ask for the courage to surrender to your healing path in whatever direction it is taking you. You can also call on specific angels. So some of the angels that I love for endometriosis and improving fertility are the angel of fertility. She helps to conceive a child and carry that baby to term. The angel of mothers and babies, she supports mothers and infants in bonding and communicating with each other. And the unknown angels, who are unnamed, but there are many, many of them. Anthony William, medical medium, says there's 144,000. That's a sacred number. Ask them to help restore the health of your body and your soul while you sleep. They'll come and work on you. So you can ask for 1, 2, 3, or 4 of them to come and help while you're sleeping. So that is my advice on beginning the process of healing endometriosis or taking your healing to the next level through food protocols, supplements, and then also bringing in this aspect of emotional, mental, spiritual healing. And if you're looking for help on this journey, it would be my honor to support you. Working with women in their reproductive years are some of my favorite people to work with. It's a journey that's near and dear to my own heart. Again, having my own baby. I was 8 months old. I'm 40 years old. I'm planning for one more pregnancy. So this is a journey that I live and breathe on a regular basis. There's a number of ways to work with me. I will link below, but one of the best ways to do that is with a 6-month one-to-one experience where I give you my full support. You get unlimited support between sessions, and we do hour sessions together twice a month. And that is a very intensive way to make a dramatic shift in your healing. So check those links below or at the end of the article here. And I am absolutely wishing you the very best in your healing. Have so much faith and trust that your body is doing everything it can to support you. It is not broken. There's nothing wrong with it. It is wise beyond what you could ever possibly imagine, and it is doing everything it can to help you heal. And when you learn to work with the systems of the body and let go of all that programming that says there's something wrong or faulty about you, and the truth is all you need to do is clean up those toxins and pathogens, you can be set free, and you can have just a tremendous healing journey that will change your physical health, but will also change the rest of your life in ways that you could never imagine. So I am wishing you the absolute best on your healing, and please drop comments below if you have questions.